Hi everyone, this is Dr. Deskins. I want to go over today a little bit about your LP1 assignment, the world of marketing and sales. And just in case you have any questions, I wanted to share my screens and go over some steps to maybe help clarify this information. So as you can see, you should be able to see, on my screen, I have the LP1 assignment, the world of marketing and sales. All the assignments for your LP1 are due by this Sunday, 11:59 p.m. Remember that the university does go on Mountain Time, and so we need you to adhere to that. I have stressed throughout the weeks that we need to make sure that you are following proper time management. The last thing you want to do is put everything off until Sunday and then start scrambling to get everything submitted. Excuse me. It just puts pressure on yourself, and then what ends up happening, you start rushing your assignments and your submissions. You don't submit, on topic or subpar work, and that's not what we're here to learn. In our graduate courses, we need to be using critical thinking and critical writing skills. So as I look over this LP1 assignment with you all, as it says, it assesses your competency 1, and you're going to differentiate between the concepts of marketing and sales. If you follow the instructions, there's a few questions. For example, defining the term of marketing, what's the definition of sales, what's the difference between sales and marketing orientations, what are some of the marketing management philosophies, and finally, what are some of the important reasons for studying marketing and sales. To successfully complete this assignment, you will need to follow the rubric, which is right here. Most of the time you'll see a link here. If you don't see a link to a rubric in any of your assignments, check your course materials because it will be posted there. But if I click here on this LP1 assessment, the rubric, you'll see this table here. If you follow the table and you look in the first category and at the content of which each of these categories is requiring, this is what I have to grade you on. I don't just pull out, ideas and I'm going to grade you on certain aspects. I have to follow the rubric. Excuse me. And part of the rubric does require, and the university, as all universities require, the APA format. In this university, it is APA format. And so I will look on that, but I'm also looking at content. I will provide feedback based on this rubric that you see. In this particular assignment, as in other assignments, you'll see that the rubric is a little bit more in depth than it is on discussion posts. And there's a reason, because obviously these take a little bit longer to write. Your citations and your articulation of response, your writing mechanics, they all need to be at a collegiate level. So when you look at this first category, I will be looking for in your content that you address to demonstrate the understanding of the material appropriate to grade level, the writer's position, and intent are clear. And just so you know, the course designers rate these up, so they try to be as brief and to the point. In my feedback, I will normally, I will follow this, but then a lot of times if I see you may have missed in a certain area, if you score like meets expectations, needs improvement, or unacceptable, I'll point out where you may have missed. When you look in the exceptional box, which is what you should strive to do, is this very, this second column here. This will gain you the most possible points. So for example, in your writing content, it says that, that you would have written quality work that exceeds expectations in terms of quality and accuracy with no errors. Paper thoroughly and accurately addresses the questions. Consider what we mean by the term marketing. What is the definition of sales? And these are the questions that I had just reviewed with you that are in your learning plan information, excuse me, right over here in your course material and your LP assignment. So if you follow this second column here and you want to get the maximum, a lot of you put that your SMART goals were to gain an A or possibly a B in this course. That is very likely, the possibility to do so, but you need to follow this rubric. What I ask is that when you write your assignments, please don't copy the questions and write the question and give your answer. And please don't just submit a 1-sentence or 2-sentence response. Again, you're doing critical writing and critical thinking. Your skill set needs to be pushed, and that's what I'm here to do, is to get you to think beyond what you normally would in just like everyday conversation with another person. This involves including your in-text citations that match the reference list that you're going to post at the bottom. Your reference list will always be, excuse me, titled as references, not works cited or anything like that. It's always listed as references. You list them in alphabetical order, and there is a set format for APA format. I have already shared that with you all. And so anyway, so going back to rubric, this is what I follow, and I will select the appropriate box that matches what you've submitted in the assignment. Now you may be saying, well, I don't know where to start. And now I'm going to take you over to Google Scholar. So we're talking about definitions. So say, for example, you want to get a definition. Here's Google Scholar, which I've shared with you before. I've also shared with you when you click on these 3 lines and you go to settings here, you can go over to the library links and you can enter up to 5 different university libraries that you have access to and put them in, and they will pull from those libraries. Since I have other universities, I have them included in my list. But Open World Cat is normally a default library where you'll find information. But you can also put in National American University. If you start typing it out in here and hit search, and it'll follow, it'll find it, and then you click it. And once you have the libraries, in your case, you may only have the first 2. You may have the Open World Cat and the National American Library. That's fine. Hit save. So when you go to Google Scholar and search, it'll actually pull from our university library as well as the open category universal library. Now your question for definition of marketing, I've already created these so you can just follow, and there won't be too long of a tutorial here. Over here, again, I did explain in another video, you want to try and pull information that's within the last 5 years. And you really want to find the most recent information that is available out there based on the research by the different researchers and authors who've submitted their work. So normally I'll just go 2014. You really don't want to, if you do the default, it's going to pull everything from the very beginning of time that has been entered into the internet database for Google Scholar. For example, you see this first one says in the 1989 Academy Marketing Science, goes on from there. However, this has been updated to 2015 date here by Springer publication, and so this is a current reference. But when you want to look up the definition of marketing, you'll type it in there and search. You'll get a results list here. And so over on your right, just kind of scroll down, look at the titles, look at the little snapshot of the description of what the article or research paper is about. Again, we are looking at peer-reviewed information here, not just going to a website. Google Scholar is completely different. Google Scholar pulls research articles and professional publications that help you in your scholarly writing. This is why we don't want to go to just any website out there, even though there's a lot of great information. You want to make sure that the information you're providing is as scholarly as possible and as on point as possible, and that you're giving accurate information on top of that. So, for example, if you want to look up the definition of marketing, you could just kind of scroll through your list and say, all right, well, do I see something here that might be, well, there is one here, what is marketing? And it's a book. There's a possibility there may be information here. So you could try clicking on the link. Most of the times, if you click on a link here, it may not give you full access to the information, which is why I ask you to follow the links that are on the right-hand column, because those will usually give you a PDF information. So as you see here, there's nothing here other than just book information. So let me see here. For example, you want to see this one, say, well, let me see if there is a, it says here, there's definition of marketing here. So just click on the PDF file here, and then you wait for it to open, and it'll open up the PDF research paper information on what you searched for. Just look through the information, find out what a definition of marketing is. You will reword that and rewrite it in your own words. Please do not copy and paste and then cite. That's considered plagiarism, and we don't want to do that. You want to rewrite what the author and researcher has said, and then you cite it, and then you list the reference in your reference list. Then we do the same thing, definition of sales. You type that in search. Then when we go, and then you could go question by question, just tailor down the question that's over here in the assignment. So, and then we want to look for the difference between sales and marketing orientations. Well, you see a lot of scholarly information here that will come up, and just kind of look through the information, find what you may need, cite that information. The next question, marketing management philosophies, same concept. And then value of marketing and sales. You may be saying to yourself, well, that's a lot of information to cite. Well, yes, it is. However, again, we are in a graduate course. There are more expectations placed upon graduate students, and my role is to help guide you to dig and research and find the information. Even though you could technically go to your learning plan assignment and just write it on the fly, I highly recommend that you don't do that. I want you to be, I know a lot of you or maybe, you're not following in a marketing or sales capacity. You're taking this course as part of your course requirements. So my role in connecting this position or this course to your assignments, for those of you, I know that it's quite varied, but I'm going to refer to those that are studying criminal justice system, for example. Your role is very similar. I think all roles in different industries are very similar when it comes to marketing and sales, because it goes beyond marketing and selling yourself, but it's also involving a lot of research. You're not going to go into criminal justice and just, make things up and just go off the top of your head. Can you do that? Sure, you can do that, but you want to be able to provide valuable information and proof, and that's what your role is, especially in criminal justice, or those going into social work or any other particular industry. You want to give people proof. You want to provide facts. You're going to find these facts by going to Google Scholar, and again, connecting it to the NAU library, and finding scholarly articles and peer-reviewed articles, which is what's going to show here. If I were just to go to Google and search for the definitions and search for the same questions, yes, I will find the information, and yes, you could cite that information and put it as a reference, but just as a word of caution, that is not going to suffice as peer-reviewed information. It's not going to really meet the requirements. Yes, you can cite and reference it, but you're making it harder on yourself to do that. Another tip that I shared in the other tutorial is that, say if you wanted to use this as a definition of sales, excuse me, on these quotes here, if you click those quotes, remember, the quotes will pull up all the different writing formats that are available. Again, we use APA format, which is normally the second one listed on the list. You can copy and paste this, and this will be the beginning, and I say the beginning, of your reference. And the reason I say that is because a lot of times this is not complete. A lot of times, even though this is the beginning of your reference, if you were to go to the source, click on the PDF document and open it, there's a very good chance, since these are peer-reviewed and scholarly articles and research papers, there's a high chance that after these the page numbers here, you're going to have a DOI, the digital object identifier number, that's going to go along with this research paper, which means that in addition to this reference, you're going to also write in DOI, all lowercase with a colon, and then immediately follow it with the DOI long digits that follow. If I click on here and see if it doesn't always show as a DOI, and that's fine, but you always want to make sure that, I mean, obviously if you're reading, oh, I gotta go, I can't get into this one, sorry about that. I'm in a different browser, so it won't sign me in with my NAU account, but technically I would sign in and then I would go from there. But for example, this one that I have open, when you kind of look, I can tell just by the look of it that this was a Word document that hasn't been formatted as a typical research paper, but you can still use the information. If this had a DOI number, the digital object identifier number with it, it would normally be on the very first page down here in this small text, and that's where you would find that additional information on that source. I am going to scroll through here just quickly. No, that's a book. And book references, again, you can check the NAU Writing Center or the Purdue OWL and find out where, you know, depending on the type of reference you're using, cite it correctly. Again, hit these quotes here and go ahead and copy this. But since we know that this, let's see here, Springer actually has book publications and they do have digital format. So you could copy that, like I said, to start your reference. But if you click, let's see if this works. All right, so this is through ResearchGate. I scrolled down here and you see right here, here's that DOI number. This is what would follow. You would copy this DOI number and then you would paste it after that reference. I forgot which one I was at, but say, for example, say if this was the reference, you would put the DOI number right here. Make sure you're following the correct format because, again, a DOI number in APA format is not written as caps like this. It would be all lowercase with a colon, and then you just follow it with this string of numbers. Please make sure with your assignments that are submitted in Word, please make sure that if and when you hit the return key after a URL or even after the DOI, since that is a web address, it's going to create the hyperlink. So please just right click on it and remove the hyperlink. We don't want hyperlinks in our documents. So I know I went into this other area, but I wanted to touch on that again. But that all falls into, once you get into here, under your writing mechanics and structure, this is where on your APA and your citations is your paper, your paper in proper format and cited properly according to the APA Publication Manual 6th edition. The 6th edition has been out for several years now, so I pretty much assume that the 7th edition will be out soon, but for now we are following the 6th edition. There's several links that I share within my feedback that will take you there. You can go to Purdue OWL. You could go to the APA Style blog. APA Style blog is the official APA website per se. What they've done is they created a blog that supplements the manuals, the printed manuals that we have, or if you do have the book. And the APA Style blog is where all the APA experts that work for the APA organization will post questions, they'll answer questions, they'll post examples, they'll include all that information, and this is where I gather a lot of the information that I've shared in the tutorials with you all to show you how to properly cite your references. But again, the reason I showed you going to with the Google Scholar and the ease of being able to click those links so that you can see, let me find it again, click on these quotes, is that this gets you started. And just make sure that your title, only the first word is capitalized, remember, all the other words are lowercase. And if you can look through all the different writing formats, don't come back and say, oh, well, in MLA it's different. Well, no, it's not, because look right here, it shows you there's differences, whereas in MLA, for example, they show quotes around the title. But as a general rule, you can see every single title is written exactly the same way, where the very first word is capitalized, all other words are lowercase. So again, I wanted to go over what this assignment entails and how you would search to find the information. If you have any questions, please ask. I hope that you guys are working on these assignments and getting them up. As soon as I see that you have submitted your 4 discussion posts that are required for the LP1 time period, I can begin grading. I've pretty much graded the majority of the quizzes that I created that are in your LP1 assessment, seminar assessment. I've graded most of those, and I think another 1 or 2 came in. And again, I try to provide as much in-depth feedback as I can for you guys. So anyway, that's pretty much it. And I just wanted to follow up with you guys to see where you are and to maybe share some helpful information, I hope, that can get you started if you happen to be stuck. So just let me know if you have any questions, but please ask as soon as possible. If you email me or call me on a Sunday or Saturday, or especially on a Sunday, even though I may answer, and I will try to help, the NAU policy dictates that you don't do that, that there's no excuse to be waiting until the final Sunday of when the LP is almost finished that you're going to ask for help. You've had this entire second week to do so. And so when I see no communication, I assume that everybody's okay and they're on track and everybody's just kind of waiting until the last minute to submit. Again, I really caution you, please don't do that. Please just start getting your work in as soon as possible. If you plug away every day and get something submitted, you could kind of take a breather towards the end of the week and maybe start reviewing for the upcoming week. Anyway, I hope this information was helpful, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the classroom, and I hope to talk to you again soon. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.